So long ago. It's been a long time.
Yeah, quite a few times. It's very fun enough as well.
Don't be silly. I know you probably have a microphone. Married? How long ago? Still, you know, I remember telling you it's about a month or so. There's so much better all good things. Exactly. It's not.
I see. Oh, where's, yeah.
Well,
Mom. I'm so sorry.
There's a little indentation in the ground she fell in. That was like. It's true. So done. You're done. I'm in the office, yes. No. Yeah, they said that. Yeah, good.
Shy, shy.
Gary, so.
I asked them. Yeah, and when the answer exactly. But this is no. Huh? Who did come? This Lisa's right here. She's ahead of me. Okay, all right. I know, she's young. She's very young. No, that's still young. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. I know. I remember it. Amy said the same thing. Yes, it was. I thought about it a lot. Believe me, I actually thought about it. Well, anyway, that's yes. I know. I'm horrible. What can I say? I'm horrible. I say things that other people don't say, and I'm a horrible person. Oh, that's one of the hospitals. Yeah. I'm gonna go say hello to her and see. I haven't seen anybody in a fucking year and a half. This is sad. The last it's like they had Susan was like I want to show a month or two before we got to show you something. I found some pictures, just outrageous pictures. When was that? 27 years ago. Yeah. I mean, it freaked me out when I saw this picture. I don't know. I don't know. Because Debbie Arrows asked me to. She said, wow, that's she said I wanted to donate. Pantera. Really? Yeah. For a year. I want to go say hello to Scott too. I'll be there. I know, but they're in the middle of this. No, I'm fine. Mark's birthday is June 20th. That's 8. I think I'm sure it's June 29th of 78. I know. I can't remember his name. Mark.
So you're with a couple and you have two. Yeah, this is the beginning. Everyone is gathered here, and everyone's trying to beat a little bit of the rain. You guys hear me at all? No. Susan, I hope that you can look around and see the love of all of the family and friends of people who are here to honor your beloved David, and Andrea, and Mark, and Scott. Mark was driving in yesterday as Scott and Andrea and Susan and I were together, and still spinning over that, understanding that now this part of this family's journey will be with outdated physical. And what we want to make sure with grandkids and children and his beloved sisters, Leslie and Lynn, that legacy of goodness, of intelligence, and compassion, the values, they live on. And so we honor that. And we will have prayers that we'll share. That we wanted all of your voices to be a part of it. There'll be people who are watching it now on this broadcast. I was told that Susan said the reason they came to Denver in the first place was because of the mountains. Really loved the road trip with some buddies back to college. They grew up in Chicago. That's flatland. There's no mountains in Chicago. But learned how to ski, I suppose, Susan. You knew a little bit in Germany when you were there. Loved it here too. So I thought we'd begin with SA9. I lift up my eyes to the mountains because that's what David did. He lifted his eyes up and he found a home. And he found a place that was magical for him and for Susan and the family. SA9, El Hefarim, Me'ayin Yavo Ezri. SA9, El Hefarim, Me'ayin Yavo Ezri. Ezri Me'im Adonai, Osei Shemayim Ba'aretz. Ezri Me'im Adonai, Osei Shemayim Ba'aretz. Lift up my eyes to the mountains. What is the source of my help? My help comes from Adonai, maker of heaven and earth. God will not let your foot give way, nor your protector will not slumber, for the protector of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. God is your guardian, David. God is your protection at your right hand. The sun will not strike you by day, nor the moon by night. God will guard you from all harm. God will guard your soul. You're going, you're coming, now and forever. I wanted to make sure that people have prayers that they can share, because what means the most, I think, to the family as they're going through a loss is to hear the voices of the loved ones, to hear your voices. And so let's read responsively, if you would, on that very first page. In the rising of the sun and in its going down, we will remember him.
In the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter, we will remember him.
In the opening of buds and the birth of spring, we will remember him.
In the blueness of the sky and in the warmth of summer, we will remember him.
In the rustling of leaves and the beauty of autumn, we will remember him.
The beginning of the year and the end, we will remember him.
When we are weary and need of strength, we will remember him.
When we are lost and sick at heart, we will remember him.
When we have joys we are to share, we will remember him.
So long as we live that he too shall know that, forgiving and fortifying us.
Susan was said that 25 years ago, David was first diagnosed with this cancer. And yet, he did not slow down, he did not quit, he did not despair. And there's this attitude that is captured in the 23rd Psalm. It's on this next page, page 2. It says, though I walk through the valley of the shadow, I'm not going to live in fear. And that's an attitude that is not easily obtained, because we do fear, we do have worries, we do have anxieties. We're living through that right now. And that he made sure that he would continue on with the greatest of the strength. Mizmor David, Adonai ro'eh lo atzar b'not deshe yad b'tzei, amen v'nechod yanchenu. Nafshi yoshvei yanchenu magalei tzedek l'ma'an shemo, gam ke'ele ke'etzam mavet lo ira. Ki etzayimati, shiftecha mishin tefachenu yanachanu. Ta'arot lefanai shochan neged tzorevai b'shanta b'shemen oshi kosiv revaya. Ach tov v'chesed yidachon et kol yemei chayai. V'shavti b'beit Adonai le'olach yamim. We say in English, A song of David. Adonai is my shout-out. God enables me to lie down in green pastures and leads me beside still waters. God restores my soul and guides me in paths of righteousness for the sake of the divine. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff will comfort me. You set a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You have anointed my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of Adonai forever. Just before the service, we toward Kriya. I told you we would read a passage that says there's a time for terror and a time for sowing. To read this with me, if you would, on page 2. We say, the season is set for everything, the time for every experience, the time for being born, and the time for dying, the time for planting, the time for uprooting, the time for slaying, the time for healing, the time for tearing down, the time for building up, the time for reading, the time for laughing, the time for grieving, the time for giving, the time for growing stones, the time for dry grass, the time for embracing, the time for whispering and praise. Time for seeking, time for listening, time for keeping, time for letting go, time for charity, time for service, time for silence, and time for speaking. This is the time for speaking. We'll have, we'll share some words, but also we'll have later on, we'll call the sisters up, and Andrea and Martha as well share some words, and the grandkids have something. I think everyone who knew him now, you all have thoughts and memories that are precious that we'll share in time. This is the 37th day today, the 37th day of the counting of the Omer, the harvest barley of grain. The Torah instructs us to harvest for 7 weeks, marking the days from Passover to Shavuot. Our sages noted that this period also marks the transition from freedom from slavery in Egypt to the moment at Mount Sinai when our ancestors received the Torah, Zman Matan Torah, and marks a sacred journey from survival to the time of acquiring meaning and purpose. It's that same message that we heard when we hear the words of the 90th Psalm, that I don't know how long my life will be, but may I make every day count. Indeed, we number our days during this time of the Omer, counting each day with Sefirat Omer. The foundational lesson of Judaism that is fully embraced by Dr. David Silberman is to make every day count. His life journey was 79 years, but as the psalmist taught, in the long journeys of life, there are times of loss and setback and source. The challenge is how we respond to those setbacks and those disappointments. As you all know, David responded to life's unfairness and grief with remarkable spirit and courage. 25 years ago, he was diagnosed with cancer, and yet he carried on with tremendous spirit, will, and drive. He made every day count. So let us take some time to recall and honor his remarkable journey. David was born on February 7th, 1942 in Chicago to Julius and Ida Silberman. A few years later, he became the older brother to his wonderful twin sisters, Lynn and Leslie, who are here. We'll hear from them a bit. Though raised on the south side of Chicago, David was a passionate Cubs fan and remained so his entire life. His father, Julius, and a number of others in the Silberman family were prominent pharmacists, and David would help out in the store when he could. No doubt that fueled his interest in medicine. David earned his liberal arts degree at the University of Illinois at Champaign, then continued on at their dental school. In 1967, David met Susan Bork. It was on a blind double date. Now, Susan was actually dating had a different date. That was okay. She was also at the University of Illinois studying to be a dental assistant. David was in his final year of dental school. And though they had different dates and they really hadn't seen each other after that date for some time, obviously something about you, Susan, kept in his mind. So that one magical moment, he was getting off an elevator and you were getting on and he saw you again and he stopped. And you talked and he found somehow, you don't know how, but he did, your phone number. And he called you up. And almost immediately, you realized there was something very, very special about your relationship. You knew that he really cared because David would drive about an hour through Chicago traffic to come pick you up for a date. And you also knew when David asked you to come to his graduation, and you responded with, well, if you come to cousin Meryl's wedding, and you both did, you realized that you were going to be there for each other for your important moments. You realized that you were in love. David was scheduled to enter the army, serving our country during Vietnam, but that would not stop their relationship. David and Susan were married in the fall of 1968. He proposed to her on the steps of Chicago's famed Art Institute. David's service took him to Germany and Susan joined him. And for 3 years, Captain David Silberman served our troops in Germany, providing dental care. In turn, David and Susan were blessed with Scott and then Andrea, both of whom were born in Richburg, Germany. The family returned to the Chicago area in 1971. And David started a dental practice, but soon realized that he wanted a special in periodontics. With 2 young children at home, that took a great deal of commitment from Susan and the whole family for him to go back to school. Well, David and the family made that commitment, Susan, with your support. What made it possible was that they believed in each other and they knew that they could make it work. David trained to become a periodontic surgeon at Northwestern. And when they were in, as I mentioned earlier, while they were already in Germany, they were learning how much they loved skiing. And with his buddies, he learned a little bit about Chicago. So once he finished at Northwestern with his advanced studies, David, Susan, Scott, and Andrea moved to Denver to begin their adventure here. In 1973, David, Tom Orban, and Michael Poulos established OSNP, a dental practice that specialized in periodontics. Their skill and dedication grew the practice, and eventually they had some 20 staff and colleagues. The key to their success, I'm told, is that they treated every patient like they were extended family. In Denver, Mark was born, and the family joined Temple Sinai about 1979. I have to share just one particular event that illustrates the kind of person David was and the values that Susan championed. It was when Mark was signed up to go on IST, the Israel study tour. Temple Sinai was giving to each of the kids who would go on IST $500 over and above what the Federation and everyone else gave. It was $500 to make the participation a little bit more affordable. So when the Silbermans received the check, David wrote the following, and this, and I'll give this to the family, is what he wrote. On OSNP stationery. He wrote this to Rabbi Zwerin. He said, "Dear Red, it is my understanding that Temple Sinai gives a $500 scholarship to each member child who participates in the Israel study tour. Our son Mark is signed up and ready to go. However, I cannot in good conscience accept my scholarship money from Temple. I'm sure that there are others who would both need and appreciate the help more than we would. Therefore, I'm enclosing $500 as a contribution to the IST fund. In addition, I'm enclosing another $500 in memory of Susan's father, Maury Bolton, who passed away in Chicago on February 1st, and in memory of her mother, Shirley, whose yahrzeit is January the 22nd. Thank you, and best regards." David's philanthropy. I know, just it's so touching that instead of keeping it, he went forward, and not only to give it back, he added to it, saying, "It's not just about me. Surely there are others out there who need it more." David's philanthropy was not just in giving money; it was also in his physical commitments. For 3 years, David provided free dental services in Sderot, Israel. Now, Sderot is right along the Gaza Strip and is frequently under rocket attack by Hamas and Palestinian terrorists. And yet, year after year, David spent a month there. And his visits not only provided vital services, it also lifted the spirits of those Israelis who otherwise might have despaired of their situation. As Andrea and Mark went to Israel in IST, and Scott went there to be with his father in Israel. Israel also inspired David to learn more about his extended Jewish family and genealogy. He's thrilled to learn about the unique and inspiring stories and journeys of his family. His legacy to his family and to all of us included this lesson, that the Jewish family is one mishpacha, that we're all interconnected. In turn, his beloved family gave him the greatest gift of all, the hope of a better future. And that hope is best celebrated with grandchildren. Scott and Natalie blessed David and Susan with Riley and Lola. Andrea and Aaron blessed them with Judah and Talia. And Mark and Ellie blessed them with Asher, Shai, and Perry. Even through the most difficult days, David could take pride in the wonderful family that he and Susan created. Surrounded by loved ones, he could let go of this mortal life with a sense of satisfaction that he lived life well and made every day count. So, one little passage I wanted to share at this moment, because as much as there's that love and celebration of his life, there's that realization that the physical part is gone too. And for my teacher who wrote, "It is a fearful thing to love what death can touch. A fearful thing to love, hope, dream, and to be. A thing for fools this. A holy thing to love, for your life has lifted me. Your laugh once lifted me. Your word was gift to me. To remember this brings a painful joy. 'Tis a human thing, love, a holy thing to love what death has touched." Lynn and Leslie, as twin sisters, can you come up? And I know you have also a poem and something to share, and then we'll follow up the rest of the thing.
I'm Lynn. I'm one of the twins. This is my sister, Leslie, who really, truly was such a gift, especially the last days with her husband. And just as an aside, we do not speak. Period. This has been a great time of reflection and just generally commiserating. And Leslie made a comment, and she said, "Well, David's going to be with mom and dad." And for once, I had a filter, which I'm not necessarily known for. And I thought, yeah, probably mom and dad, but then Aunt Fran, Aunt Rose, they'll be taking over. Ask me the questions, and it'll be a wash. And I thought, poor David. Such a shame in a sense, but we always took over. The other thing that came to mind was, if you don't know us very well, we're a family of overachievers. We overachieve on everything. It kind of comes down to our dad saying, "You made a B? You could have made an A. You're Silberman. You made an A? You could have made an A plus." To which I thought David was truly an overachiever. 25 years, finding the very great, just overwhelming diagnosis till the end, to which I want to read two poems that kind of came to life, that kind of say everything, and then I'll let Leslie have a word. You can shed tears because they are gone, or you can smile because they live. You can close your eyes and pray they will come back, or you can open your eyes and see all that they left for you. Kind of says it, doesn't it? Your heart can be empty because you can't see them, or you can be full of the love you shared. You can turn your back on tomorrow and live yesterday, or you can be happy for tomorrow because of yesterday. You can remember only that they are gone, or you can cherish their memory and let it live on. You can cry, and close your mind and feel empty, or you can do what they would do, what they would want, smile, open your heart, love, and go on. Rabbi said something very, very salient to what we have today. And I keep this, and I've kept this in my office. And it's the words of Ralph Waldo Emerson. And it's a definition of success. And he says to laugh often and much, to win the respect of intelligent people, and the affection of children, which he truly did, to earn the appreciation of honest critics, and endure the betrayal of false friends, to appreciate beauty, to find the best in others, to leave the world a bit better, whether by a healthy child, a garden patch, it even be a tree blocking the view of the lake from the back, or a redeemed social condition. To know even one life has breathed easier because you have lived. This is to have succeeded. David and I were siblings. David and I were friends. He was my hero. He was my big brother. And I'll always miss him. Thank you. Thank you. It's time to watch.
Hello. Thanks to everyone for being here today. It's really amazing to look around and see all these people. It's really touching. So thank you everyone for coming in today. It means a lot. We asked our kids what they thought of, what do you think of when you think of Zadie? And it was just kind of off the cuff. So I just wanted to read a couple things. So the first is from Scott's daughters. Lola will always remember Zadie using a rolled up napkin and doing, he must pay the rent, he must pay the rent. And that he was my grandpa. Riley thinks about Zadie putting on an orange on his nose like a clown and making us laugh. He will always be remembered and is a very, 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 very funny guy. Shy, that's my son, Shy. Shy says he'll remember Zadie for always hugging him tight and rubbing his shoulders.
telling him that he saw Shy, Gordon, Silberman in Sports Illustrated. Asher will always remember Zadie tackling him to the carpet and making a cave over him, and he'd have to escape. And Perry, she says she'll always remember the great time she had with Zadie in Florida on the beach. And then I just have one other thing I'd like to read. Our father was a loving man. He loved his family first and foremost. He loved his friends like family. He loved sports. He loved the Chicago Cubs for 74 years. And even more when they finally won the World Series. He had a love-hate relationship with the Broncos. Most recently, he loved the Nuggets. He loved skiing. He loved that his kids and their kids loved skiing. He loved the arts. He tried to get his kids to love the arts. Some stuck, some didn't. We love that he tried, although spending hours in lines and at venues and spending way too much time waiting for Dad to read every single piece of detailed information in all of the museums was painful at the time. He loved Colorado. He loved introducing his family to all that Colorado had to offer. He loved Chicago too, but not as much as Colorado. He loved to travel and explore. Not certain that he loved all of the family road trips we made, but he loved reminiscing after the fact. He loved my mom's cooking. And no offense, Mom, but he only liked 7 things. He loved mowing the grass and taking care of the yard. Although not certain if he loved that as much as the love he had for his circa 77 white running shorts. That left little to the imagination, that were profoundly and exclusively reserved for this weekend ritual. He loved reading. He loved history. He loved the Jewish holidays. And he really loved conducting the Passover Seder. Year after year, he loved adding new twists and turns to the festivities, including robes and gowns and stories, really sermons and songs. There's a lot more that he loved. And we did do and will always love Dad. Thank you.
I just want to second what Mark said and thank everybody for coming. It's nice to see all the familiar friends and family. Thank you. It's hard to know where to start when describing the man you've known as Dad for 50 years. I know it's a long time to be blessed with having a dad, but somehow it won't ever seem like enough. Somehow I wanted to have my dad around for my entire life. My life was profoundly shaped by my dad, his guidance, his advice, his discipline, his personality, his interest, his intellect, his love, but mostly the example he set of how to be a good human being, which has impacted my life in so many ways. There are endless stories and memories, far too many to cover in just a few minutes. But here are a few things I'd like to share. He taught me how to be a fiercely loyal friend, how to be adventurous and take chances, how to exercise regularly and take care of my body, how to work hard and never give up, and how to always try to have a good attitude about life. He always said it's not what happens to you, It's how you decide to react to it. Some of his best advice was, don't sweat the small stuff. As you all know, my dad was a fighter. His perseverance and strength defined him as a person. He passed on to me his love for art, dance, music, theater, and travel. I wish I caught the reading bug from him as well, but that one didn't quite stick. We used to call my dad the walking encyclopedia. You could ask him just about any question and he would have an answer. My dad felt it was important to expose us to culture, from John Denver Red Rocks to the Denver Symphony to Broadway shows to the Louvre in Paris. He gave us experiences that we will never forget. I also adopted my dad's love of burnt toast, crunchy cookies, coffee ice cream, black licorice, dogs, and late nights, as well as a bit of his stubborn nature and unpredictable moods, and the tendency to break out in song sparked by any random words spoken during a conversation. Our travel adventures included many scenic road trips through national parks, hot summer days at Lake Powell, a visit to the Epcot Center, an adventurous trip to Europe, a cruise around the Gulf, and of course our yearly Thanksgiving trips to Longboat Key, where we created lifelong family memories. These memories are some of my kids' favorites with Nana and Zadie. He taught me to appreciate nature and the beauty of Colorado has to offer. He passed on his joy of hiking, camping, river rafting, skiing, and golf. As kids, we skied every single Sunday, but the best part was always eating Dad's homemade waffles at the end of a long day on the slopes. My dad also taught me to appreciate the little things in life. Some of the small memories I have of him are my fondest. Going to the neighborhood pool on warm summer nights after dinner, getting ice cream at the local Haagen-Dazs store, walking along with the marching band at CU games in Boulder, sitting in the back seat of his Porsche listening to the Bee Gees, riding bikes along the Cherry Creek Trail, working in his office, going to Bronco games, looking at old photographs on the slide projector, taking ski trips to Vail every winter, Passover Seders, and Shabbat dinners around the family kitchen table. For my friends who are here today, I'm sure you remember that my dad insisted on keeping the phone off the hook until Shabbat dinner was over, before we were off to our teenage shenanigans. I didn't necessarily appreciate it at the time, but now I get it and I treasure those moments. As I got older, my dad became my friend. He shared his best advice. He listened to my complaints about jobs, money, kids, life. He always had an ear when I needed it and told me everything would work out. Oh, how I wish I could hear him tell me everything will work out one more time. My life will never be quite the same again without him, and the hole in my heart will forever remain. Thank you for caring for and loving me, Mom, Scott, and Mark. Thank you for embracing Aaron. Thank you for being the best lady to Judah and Tolly. You are already dearly missed. I love you, Dad.
I'd like to call it the grandkids to share. There are a couple of them have written remarks, and but how about all the grandkids to stand with them too, okay?
Here are some things I loved about my baby. Number one, every time I left a tooth, he would give me a coin that I added to my collection. Number two, he'd always take me and do the golfing. Number three, he would take us to McDonald's and let us play on the biggest play set. When he made his shakes, he would always give us some and we loved it. 5. When Mom was gone and we had sleepover with him, he would give us Coke with dinner and a little container of ice cream. Overall, my baby was the best one I could ever ask for. I love him so much and I will really miss him. He was such a good influence by being loving and kind. I loved hanging out with him and doing lots of fun things with him. It was so much fun when we had sleepovers at his house and seeing him in the mornings. I will definitely miss that. He always gave the best hugs. I will miss him so much and will never forget him.
The things that I loved about my Zadie and the memories that I had are endless. He was a big bundle of joy that would always make your day. He was fun, caring, loving, and so much more. One of my favorite things was when he would take us golfing together. He would take me to the clubhouse to get a big burger and a Coke, and then we would go hit some golf balls. He helped perfect my form until I had it done. Another thing is we would go to Florida just about every year for Thanksgiving, and he would wake up every day, not only to the beautiful ocean and the beach, but also to Zadie's happy loving face to greet you in the morning before you go play. We would then sit patiently and watch from sunrise to sunset, and then say goodnight with the same loving personality. While we were in Florida, he gave us a surprise trip to Disneyland. Me and Zadie waited in line for hours just so I could go on a 5-minute roller coaster. Zadie has always been there when I needed him most, since newborn all the way up to today. Zadie would play with me all day long, doing puzzles, building trains, and he would also fling me up in the air on his feet. I would call it airplane. When I was old enough to remember things, I realized that Zadie would make a shake every morning. And when he would stay over for sleepovers, we would always go to the neighborhood pool and swim for a couple hours. Nana would make turkey sandwiches for both me and my sister, and Zadie would take us over. This later became one of my favorite things with Zadie. And finally, one of my favorite memories is Zadie would always have a song for everything. You could say any word, and Zadie could start singing a song. Zadie truly did have a song for anything. Zadie has always been a huge thing in my life, and I will never forget that. I love you, Zadie.
We're here to fulfill a mitzvah of both to make sure that David, who brought some response to his family, to this community, is accompanied by those who love him. And then, of course, to that final act that we can do, that is make sure that he's buried with respect and according to traditions. And so what I will be given once we have the casket lowered, we will get some earth that Sheldon's provided and talked to me about that. He loved Israel, and there's a very special place in Israel in Mount of Olives to be buried. That not everyone can be buried there, but they have this earth from Jerusalem that I'll be giving to the immediate family. And then the rest of us will take earth and we'll make sure that his physical remains are protected, which is why we have the Torah, the burial. But just as we protect the physical remains, then what that was most dear is neshama. We'll honor and cherish that too. So as we are about to have the burial, would you please rise? Adonai Natan, Adonai Lakat, Yishim Adonai Nevirat. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher yatsa etchem b'tamim. V'zan v'choteh etchem b'tavo v'hemid etchem magim. V'natah v'tochechem chayei olam. Baruch atah Adonai Dayan ha'emet. We praise you, Adonai, our God, Lord of the universe. You have formed us in the divine image. You have nourished and sustained us in goodness. You have made us mortal, and yet you have implanted immortal life within us. We praise you, O God, Judge of the truth. Atah gibor elam Adonai, Rav lo Hashir. מחכה חי בחסד, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים, תומך תופרים ורופא חולים מתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבולות ומדום עליו, מלך ממית וחי נפשועה, וכת אדוני נטה בתוכנו חיי עולם. Eternal is your might, O God. All life is your gift, great is your power to save. With love you sustain the living, and with great compassion you give life to all. You send help to the fallen and healing to the sick. You bring freedom to the captive and keep faith with those who sleep in the dark. We praise you, O God, who has implanted eternal life within us. This is the earth from Israel. Being zealous when it's time, we rise up early and eagerly to perform the not this. This is what we do with a heavy heart. So the foolishness to have the back of the shovel. Say, this is not something we can do easily. Yet eventually we turn the shovel basically so we can do what we need to do. That's visibly made. After you have, and you will all be invited to place earth to cover up the casket, when you are finished, tradition is not to hand the shovel to the next person, but rather put the shovel into the earth, allow each person to grab it. So if you like to have 2 lines, each of you are invited to honor that.
No, that way.
Yeah, I didn't. I mean, I which is understandable. I get it. I get it. West, 6 there. Twin sisters. Yeah, I remember Susan always going, yes. I did, it's gone. Yeah. So do I. Right.
Wherever you're going.
Oh, it's beautiful. Yeah, it's kind of like yellow, you know. It has to be a certain. Yeah, skin tone. Yeah. Right. Yes. Job. Oh, Friedman. Friedman. What's his name? Don. Oh, that's Janie and Dom. Okay. Yeah, yeah. No, not yet. Yeah. So do they play like country or? I didn't know. That's great. That's awesome. Oh, Buddy's his best friend. Buddy is good. That was your Jason, the wife. Oh my God, you remember him. Oh, I remember that. Wonder. Nice. I don't know. What a beautiful rocks right there. Oh, I love stones.
I used to do it.
Every day.
This is heavy.
Really?
Yeah.
I love your speech. I heard your soul. Yeah. I mean, I'm. Well, thank you.
So with the casket covers, we have two more prayers. The one is the Elmele Rachamim, which you can find in your handout. You find that on page 4. The first is David Silberman, Zelet Michael Ben Yehuda. And I made mention that what we've just done is to protect his physical remains, but it's his neshama, his soul that is bound up with the bond of life. Literally, we'll read the words, his soul will be bound up in the bond of Chagim. Soul will be bound up in the bond of life, with Chagim, with the living, with each of you. At the bottom of most of these headstones, you'll find the acronym, Yeh Neshama Tzlo B'Torah Chagim. And so, on page 4, we think of David's soul, his neshama. Elmele Rachamim Shofreim B'Amoromim Amsem Menucha Nechona Al Kamvei Hashchina B'Ma'alot Kedoshim Utchorim B'Zohar Rakia Mazirim Et Nishmat Zereg Michael Ben Yehuda Shehalach L'Olamo B'Gan Eden Yeh Menuchato Lachen Barachamim Yasirehu B'Sedek Enachav L'Olamim Yitzror HaChaim Et Nishmato Adonai Hu Nachalato V'yanot B'Shalom Nishkavo V'nomar Amen. Let us say together. O God, exalted in compassion, pray for perfect peace and eternal comfort in your shelter and presence of the soul of David. God of mercy, protect your soul forever. His soul be bound up in the bond of eternal life. Adonai, you are our portion. You rest in peace and let us say, Amen. Before the Kaddish, before the Kaddish, which is on page 5, I know there's a presentation of the American flag to the family. Susan, and as you have now this flag, you can all rise for the Kaddish in the mourner's Kaddish on page 5. We'll say it slowly and with feeling these words, which do not dwell on death, but rather they remind us to celebrate life, the life that you shared with David along your journey as well. We say, Yitkadam, Yitkadash, Shnei Rabbah, Ve'alma Devarach Perotei, Ve'yamit Malchutei, Ve'chayecho, Yom Yecho, Ve'chayei Dechol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala V'zman Karev V'Mor, Shnei Rabbah Mevarach Le'olam, Ul Amei Almai, Yitarach Yishrach, Yifa'ar, Yitromah, Yitnaseh, V'tatar, V'taleh, V'talal, Shnei Isha, Era Miko Virkata Shiraha Tushakata Nepamata Dhammarama Shalama Rabba Nin Shama B'chayim Alam B'kol Yisrael Say Shalom Uyakasir Shalom that last page, and I'll share these words together. He said, for the ties of love, of death cannot sever, of the companionship can share a long lifetime. Those gifts of heart and mind which have now become a precious heritage. For all this and more, we are grateful. Now help us, O compassionate God, not to dwell in sorrow and pain. Help us instead to find within our hearts the courage to return to the task of life and its joys. Susan, Andrea, and Scott, and Mark, and Leslie, and Lynn, the entire family. They say these words and are an expression that we shared for 100 generations, hoping that each will in turn realize that the love that they shared continues on. המקום ינחם אתכם, בתוך שאר אבלי ציון וירושלים. God comfort along with all in Zion and Jerusalem. Before the peace.